Hi everybody, I'm Chris G and welcome to another edition of the Habs360 podcast featured on allhabs.net. On this week's episode that aired on March 9th, myself along with my co-hosts Peter and George, we gave our mid-season report card to every player of the Habs. George started off by providing his grade of Canadiens captain, Brian Gionta.
I give him a B. You know, he's not a superstar. He's not underachieving. He's a solid performer. He's there when you need him, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. B sounds pretty reasonable. I mean, he's been filling out the right wing spot on the second line, which is what's expected of him. But it's also like we said a couple of shows ago that he could be potentially also moved down to the third line on the wing, and I'd be okay with him. Second line right wing or third line right wing. He's doing his job. We can't complain about the captain.
Yeah, so I'll agree with the B grade as well for the captain. The way that the rest of the team has been performing and the way that Brian Gionta has been performing, I'm starting to lean to see Brian Gionta as becoming the third line right winger for the Montreal Canadiens, and so we'll see how that turns out. So next, let's move on to number 14, Tomas Plekanec, who has 15 points so far this season. Peter, what do you think about his play?
Oh, Plekanec is definitely an A. I mean, Michel Therrien uses him very often, especially on the road. I've noticed he plays often. There's a lot of games where he's nearing the 20-minute mark, and for a forward, that's pretty good. And he uses him on penalty kill, on the power play. He's really a very versatile player, and I think he deserves an A.
I won't be as generous as you, Peter. I'm going to give Thomas Plekanec an A-, and the only reason I'll do that is I'm not happy with his plus-minus. He's at -1, so that means when on 5-on-5, he's going to hurt you. But I agree, Thomas Plekanec, very valuable player, but just because of that plus-minus rating, I got to take it down a notch, A- for TP.
Well, don't forget also that one of the reasons why it is -1 is because he plays a lot of minutes. He's the forward that has the most minutes, who averages the highest time on the ice per game. It's at 19:28. So the more you're on the ice, definitely the chances are against you. And I don't know. I think, but at least A-, at least you didn't go with the B route. I think A- is acceptable.
So for Thomas Plekanec, I'll give him an A as well. He's doing a lot better than, well, I wouldn't say a lot better, sorry. He's doing better than what I was expecting him to do. He's logging a lot of ice time. Maybe one stat that I would like to see better from Plekanec is probably on the faceoff circle. Right now it's at 49.1%, but that was mostly in the beginning of the season where he was struggling. He seems to be getting better as the season goes on, but hopefully he'll continue into that trend. So the players that will probably play with him tonight is newly acquired Michael Ryder. I know that on the Thursday night's game against the Carolina Hurricanes, he didn't play much in the third period. I think it was after following a bad giveaway for Michael Ryder. He ended up playing 8 minutes 36. To give him a grade, at least in my end, I think it's too early. I'll just give him a B by default to say that he's doing what he's expected, but that doesn't include his time with the Dallas Stars. I'm just counting his time with the Montreal Canadiens.
Definitely. I'd give him a B also. I mean, especially if you look at the last game against Carolina, I don't think he saw one shift in the third period. Hopefully he'll be bouncing back in tonight's game, and we'll see. I mean, Ryder is still. We couldn't expect much more. We've seen Ryder with Montreal before. You know, defensively, his defensive play is not his strong point. He's a shooter. He's a 30-goal scorer, but you're going to have to live with his defensive awareness, which is not very high.
You know, I'm not going to be as generous as you guys once again. I'm going to be very strict with him, even though it only has been 5 games. I'm going to go with a C+. I mean, he hasn't scored a goal yet. I haven't seen him get that many scoring chances, and he's a defensive liability so far. But that can change tonight. But from what I've seen so far, I can't go higher than a C+.
He hasn't scored a goal, but he got 3 assists the other night, I think, against the New York Islanders. So he was still finished on -1, but he was in there for all 3 Canadian goals.
Yeah, but they still lost 6-3. So
they still lost. 1-877-455-4945 is the phone number. At Habs360 is our Twitter account. We got a couple of tweets from John at Le Habs Baby. First, he talks about Thomas Plekanec, who says Plekanec plus minus combined with his face-offs equals a minus. Sorry. So he agrees with George. And also, in regards to Julien, he says Julien is an idiot. Players on every team embellish at some point, but calling out PK and indirectly calling out the NHL was weak. And I totally agree with that comment that was made by John. So move on now to the Chris G 1980 second line of the Montreal Canadiens. Let's start with Max Pacioretty, number 67 of the Montreal Canadiens, who has 8 goals, 12 assists, 20 points, and a +6 with the Montreal Canadiens after a slow start. I'll give Max Pacioretty A-. So I'll say an A- because of the start of the season. He wasn't scoring any goals. He wasn't on pace for his I think it was 35 goals that he scored last season. But just to clarify, if I would have been evaluating his last 9 games, I probably would have given Max an A+. But considering the entire season, A- is my result for Max Pacioretty. George.
I'm going to give Max an A for the simple fact that he is the team's leading scorer. He's averaging a point per game. His plus-minus rating is excellent at +6. He has good size. He's always creating something. So I'm not going to be as strict as you, and I'm going to forgive him for a slow start, and I'm going to reward him. I'm going to reward him with an A.
I agree. I mean, Max Pacioretty is the team's best winger by far, and an A is well deserved on his behalf, even though he had the slow start.
If we move on now to David Desharnais, who's been his centerman for most of the season. 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points, -1. Peter, what's your grade on Desharnais?
I've always liked David Desharnais. I'm going to give him A-, only because I think he needs to do a little bit better to reach that A. If he works on his face-off percentage a bit higher, now it's at 48%. I mean, if he can get it up at least 4 percentage points, it'd be a big reason to move him up to A. But I think he's doing the job good so far.
B+, in my opinion. He's very solid, but he's not. There's still something missing in his game, but with Max, I'm pretty sure that he will be able to overcome and get himself in the A club. So B+, very solid grade.
So I'll be a little stricter than you guys on David Desharnais. I'll go with a B for him. 15 points in 24 games. I think if I compare him to last year, it's what I was expecting from him. nothing more, nothing less. So that's why I'll go with a neutral grade of B for David Darnay. Things that he could improve on is he was a little bit inconsistent, I think, in the beginning of the season. He could, if he's a little more consistent, I think he could definitely go into the A club for the Montreal Canadiens. And I think that's probably one of the players that I could expect before the end of the season to pick it up and push himself on in the A club.
I hope you enjoyed the sample of this week's Habs360 podcast. If you want to listen to the entire episode, which includes our grades for the rest of the team, click on the link on this page. A reminder that you can follow me on Twitter at ChrisG1980 and Peter at Peter Galanos. Our next episode will air live next Saturday, March 16th at 2 p.m. Eastern. Follow at Habs360 on Twitter for more details. Enjoy your week, and we will talk to you next week.